Members, we move on to agenda item number 5, and I hand over to John McMillan for this item. Thank you, John.
Okay, this is an update on some
Members,
issues.
thank you.
This is an update on some issues with the former Mill Road Library, which is currently let to the Indian Community and Cultural Association. Buildings let on a full repairing lease to the ICCA, 25-year lease running from 1999. They pay a peppercorn rent and are responsible for all repairs. The building is Grade 2 listed and is located in a central area of Cambridge on Mill Road, at the entrance to the Mill Road depot, which is owned by City Council, who have a planning consent for housing on that site. The property has not been maintained in accordance with the lease, and there are issues about the long-term future of the asset. The Council have attempted to maintain a dialogue with the tenant, but this has sometimes proved difficult. Listed building consultants have identified about £200,000 of outstanding repairs, which are the responsibility of the tenant. There is a risk that the liability could transfer to the council if the tenant is not able to comply, and given the financial standing of the ICCA, the council may not be able to recover costs. We met the chair of the ICCA in April. She acknowledged their responsibility and we discussed their limited resources. A negotiated surrender was also discussed, but that would still have to be put to the ICCA members at their AGM at the end of May. A correction to the report: they do not have an alternative location to move to. Should the tenant vacate, there are a variety of options available for the building. City Council have expressed an interest in the building. The building has D1 planning use classes, which are fairly restrictive, and that's things like education, library, nursery, health. D1 uses are strongly protected by in the City Council local plan. A change from D1 to another use class would require alternative facilities to be provided elsewhere and so on. However, even in the D1 use class, there is potential for significant rents to be obtained if that is an option that's chosen. That's all I've got to say. Questions?
Thank you very much. Members, any points, questions you wish to raise on this paper? Councillor Jones, I know you're a local member. It's appropriate to start with you.
Yeah, I mean, I know this has been an issue which the County Council has been wrestling with for quite a long time. When we talked about it earlier, I did go away and talk to city councillors, because of course the whole of, this is part of a broader issue for the city council, because the Mill Road depot area by the railway track is being developed for housing, and this would be, on the edge of that. The city, I mean, from the point of view of the city council, their concern obviously is although they have an interest in it, and they are interested in acquiring it, the high cost of repairs is a real deterrent. I mean, if it were the county council to carry out those repairs and then offer it, that would be obviously very attractive. But as it is, it's a difficult issue. This is a community association, and I think we have to, proceed very carefully. I notice in the paper that although the trustees have been consulted, the wider membership hasn't. That wider membership is quite significant, and there is a shrine in the building, so there are a whole set of issues about neighbourhood resident sensitivity. On the other hand, I don't come from the city council with a way forward, and this is the concern. There is no ideal solution that they have proposed, so I can't really say very much more than that at the moment.
Thank you. Lucy.
Thank you. I'm just wondering what alternatives to asking them to surrender the lease we have, effectively. There are clearly very substantial repairs that need to be done on the building, and they are, as the leaseholders, responsible for those repairs. So if we were not to negotiate a surrender of the lease, what would be the alternative?
So the alternative would be going down the legal route, forfeiture, which would be costly and long-running for both sides.
Costly, okay, in trying to get them to repair the building.
Yes, and the legal process
Just the legal process itself would be
is
very
costly.
But it is legally probably their responsibility
Yes.
to make repairs, and
Yes.
they simply can't afford to do that.
And the other point is the building is deteriorating,
Yeah.
and it is a listed building, so both the tenant and the county council could come under pressure to get the building repaired from City Council Conservation Department.
So there is an urgent requirement
Yes.
for these
Yes.
repairs to be done.
Yes.
And we're pretty clear that the community, the current use can't afford those. That doesn't really seem to be what we have.
Right.
Chris, I know which kind
Chairman, a lot of what I was going to say has been answered by Mr. McMillan. So, as the property owner, if the tenant is unable to fulfil their requirements under the terms of the lease, by nature it would default to us, and therefore that liability will fall upon the county council. It's the context of which the way forward that the county council may therefore wishes to take in relation to that potential liability.
Thank you. Before I've got a couple of speakers, before I bring them in, I just wanted a point of clarity. John, you mentioned that the trustees have been consulted. So this association is a formally recognised association with charity, a registered charity with trustees. And from my understanding as a trustee of a different charity, if we were to pursue the legal route to recover costs, the trustees are financially liable for those costs. Charity Act. I believe, I will stand corrected, and I think we do need to see clarity on that, because if we decide not to, then we need to be very clear that we're not negotiating the surrender of the lease with the terms of us being in any way unfair or harsh, because if we were to proceed with recovering costs, which is our right as the leasee, then we could recover costs against the trustees. We will see clarity, but I'm fairly certain that's the case. Councillor Shillings.
Thank you. From one side, I can see the difficulty that we've got a large population using this facility and no alternative site has been identified. And I have sympathy with that. On the other side, they haven't maintained the building. It is deteriorating. Sooner or later, this council is going to have highly likely to have to pick up the bill. And I just wondered if we have any nascent figures of what the rate of return would be if we were to do it up and then put it on the open market. John, you obviously do.
It's, I think, just to answer that, it's in 3.3, the second 3.3 of the report. There's two 3.3s. On page 31 at the top of the page. And it was a potential rental of £60,000 per annum with a D1.
Right, and how would that work out in terms of IRRs and so on? Because we've got money up front.
Exactly. So
sometime never money.
I think because this delegation is to basically firstly to negotiate the surrender and secondly to be looking at the potential sale or letting option, I think that would be completely explored because we know the full detail about what works would need to be done. I'm sure John could have a stab at what the works would cost and then therefore what the return would be. But really that's the work that we are taking a guess until we really assess what's needed to be done.
Right, and then finally, if I may, Chairman, £200,000 now is deteriorating. What's it likely to be when we actually get there? Because this is not going to happen tomorrow.
John, do you have any indication of how the rate of deterioration?
I have no idea. But just as an indication, one of the things that spurred us on last winter during the gales, a gutter blew off. It was an emergency situation. We had to get in and to repair it, and that costs quite a lot. So that has given it more impetus to sort this out.
Thank you. Councillor Rogers.
I'm concerned with the overall picture, if I may make that statement. It was leased in 1999. I would hope that we had an annual inspection, bearing in mind that we are landlords. How have we reached now a situation whereby there's significant repairs to be undertaken?
Question.
And surely this should have been picked up at the annual inspection and pointed out to the tenants that rectification was required or repair was required, and we wouldn't be in the state we are today.
Absolutely. John.
That's a fair point. We've been involved with this one probably since 2016 to actively try to get to the bottom of it. As a team, we would like to be annually inspecting all of our properties, but we're not resourced to do that at the moment.
This is a listed building, and I think we have a responsibility to ourselves and to the county as a whole that we look after our listed buildings, even if they are rented or leased. And I'm just surprised that we've reached this situation with a listed building, which is going to prove very, very costly. Having said that, I think I appreciate the predicament the current residents are in, but somebody's got to go in there and repair it. If they can't afford to repair it, that must fall back on us, it being a listed building. And I don't think if the situation is such that the current tenants haven't looked after the building, we can even consider letting them occupy the building. I hate to be hard-nosed about it.
Thank you. Councillor Raines.
I suppose my question sort of follows on from Councillor Rogers' and is brought in the same shape, but comes from a slightly different angle. Given what you've told us, John, about the carrying out of annual inspections and so on, what reassurance can you give us that there aren't a whole load more cases like this that may come to us in due course?
I'm not aware that we've got many listed buildings. And I take your point that listed buildings, if we do have them, should be our priority.
It's more whether we have a system in place that would allow us to track the deterioration of our estate where we have it leased out to tenants.
Yeah, I agree. We should have that in place.
That's very eloquent, John. Thank you.
Deputy Chief Executive.
Promoted me, actually.
Yes, very momentarily.
So short-lived. I think the comments that have been made, we've noted. We will feed those through the outcome-focused review process. So I think that's clearly the mechanism, only slightly off the main point of the agenda, but it's one well made. And so we'll pick that up as part of the outcome-focused review and look at the overall resourcing and priorities of the service going forward.
Thank you very much. That's really helpful. Councillor Bates.
I mean, hearing the discussion and the debate and the presentation, it seems to me that we've got the recommendation here which is we should approve. Okay, but obviously there's a lot more questions. I think, as Chris has just said, D1 planning is one of them certainly. Very restricted indeed, and obviously the ongoing maintenance and our liabilities, etc., etc. So I'm happy to accept the recommendations. I don't see any alternative as I sit here listening to it, but obviously there are some questions down the line, I think, and how we deal with those questions down the line about what the negotiation actually did and things of that nature. So I'm quite happy to move on, Mr. Chairman.
I think it's a good point.
Okay.
Thank you. I have only a few more speakers now. I think we will move on. Just to let members know that it's already indicated that those people haven't spoken first go, so Councillor Dupre.
Yeah, I mean, as everybody says, there's a difficult situation in place here in terms of what's happened in the past, what the current situation is, and so the options for the future, which are constrained in all sorts of ways. I've got a question about each of the 3.5s, if I may. I got a bit lost in the second 3.5, which basically says that a change of use could be possible if it was applied for. However, the user restriction would frustrate any change of use. And it was all getting a bit bogged down. I wondered whether there were two different processes there, or whether it was simply saying that an application to change the use would be likely to be refused other than at appeal. And I wondered, firstly, is that correct? Or is there more to it than that rather convoluted paragraph would suggest? And if that is correct, what evidence do we have that that would be refused? Have we had any conversations about the likely attitude of the City Council to such an application? The first 3.5 seemed to contradict, Chair, what you were saying about the liability of the trustees. And while I'm not suggesting in any way that it would be wise to embark on a very confrontational process whereby the City Council served notice on the County Council, which then put pressure on the trustees, which then folded the charity. I mean, I'm not suggesting that that's necessarily a route to go down, but I think if we are foregoing that as an option, I think we need to be clear of what our rights are and what our obligations are, and what rights we are maybe deliberately foregoing rather than just having overlooked. I just wasn't clear about that.
I have to say again, and I just take the second point first, Councillor Craig, that as a trustee who is involved with property renting, leasing, it isn't as simple as closing the charity and surrendering the lease. You have obligations to uphold as a trustee. So I don't agree with that point. But we'd have to, again, I think, seek clarity on where it leaves us. The point really is that I haven't heard anyone suggesting that we would chase these trustees for the money. But I think we just need to be clear that we're not closing the centre without sort of having that in mind, that would be an option we would have discounted. John, do you want to take the first point?
So the first point, I mean, Councillor Bates referred to it, but it is difficult to change under the City Council policies from D1, from that restricted use. And that has also been the advice that we've had from the planning consultants who we ask informally about this. And the only way it would change is if you provided a community facility elsewhere, or perhaps on the same site, in part of the site. Those are the restrictions.
There is, presumably there's an option, John, for us to have a pre-application discussion with the City Council.
I'm quite sure you could, yes.
That may be a good option. And as part of this sort of delegation, maybe that's as a first point, we come back with those pre-application discussions to members so we know what the options are. I have a few other speakers now in mind we want to bring to a close. Councillor Hayes.
It says here that a negotiated surrender was discussed with the trustees, but not with wider membership, which will be at the end of the month. Was there any discussion or feeling in those discussions with the trustees that when it comes before the wider membership, that they would be able to raise the necessary funds for the repairs?
So we met the chair of the trustees, and she showed us their bank account or the bank statements, which don't indicate that they haven't very much money at all. She didn't say how the wider group would feel about this, but she did say that she had discussed the negotiated surrender idea with the other trustees. And in fact, at the meeting, the negotiated surrender idea was something that she put forward without us pushing.
Thank you. Councillor Metzinger and then Councillor Shelley.
Two quick points. One is that I think that there isn't really an alternative to the recommendation here. Given that is the case, it's worth moving this forward quite as quickly as possible, given the vast amount of development that is going on immediately around this building. It would be sensible to look at this building in the context of that other development. And on the planning issue, I think having some discussions about what would be possible would be extremely sensible. Looking at the building, it seems to me extremely likely that you could use that building much more, so that you could have as much D1 floor space and also have other activities going on in there, which ought to be able to make it possible for the D1 use to continue, but also have kind of other activities.
Thank you very much.
So, yeah.
Councillor Shellings.
Thank you. Two things. There was agreement, I think, across or around the meeting that we have some buildings that might be at risk, and it was suggested that there would be activity undertaken to review them. And I just wonder if we could indicate or get an indication as to when we might receive a report as to the state of any buildings where we might undergo or we might find ourselves on the wrong end of reputational risk if it all went wrong. So that's the first point. The second point is, it is of no surprise to me whatsoever that the current bank account of an association shows diddly squat. You don't do that. On the other hand, when push comes to shove, in these situations, and I have experience elsewhere, money can be found from a wider membership. So it might be that we would want to allow a small amount of time for the current occupants to see whether they can put their hand and throw something into the hat as it goes past.
Thank you very much. With regard to the first point, I don't know if you want to come back with a definite commitment to something.
So I think we can commit for the next meeting to come up with a list of our listed buildings. So that's a start.
Yeah. Thank you. That's
a start.
Members, I've had again no indication that we don't agree with the recommendations on the first page of this agenda item, so I'll take it as unanimously supported. Councillor Rogers.
The fact that we're now going into discussion with the city, do you feel that's encompassed with that final sentence that and to explore options for sale or letting? Should there not be a bit more built into that? I'm seeking your advice, Chair.
I think that probably gives us the broadest spectrum that we need for us to include possible reallocation of planning or whatever. I think that allows us to...
We can do it without a change.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So I'll take as unanimous support for the recommendations. Thank you.